Republican presidential candidate John Anthony Castro wants former President Donald Trump kicked off this year's ballots.
I truly believe that this man is a threat to American democracy.
Trump's opponent filing multiple suits across the U.S., including here in New Mexico, declaring Trump unfit to become president again.
We have to trust the framers of the United States Constitution that they foresaw that people like Trump are an existential threat to United States democracy.
New Mexico just one of many states weighing legal battles against the former president for his alleged role at the U.S. Capitol in 2021. Some accusing the former president of instigating the January 6th attack.
Many states are grappling with the issue now of whether or not to disqualify Donald Trump from being on the ballot due to the insurrection clause of the 14th Amendment.
Section 3 of the 14th Amendment prohibiting anyone from engaging in insurrection or rebellion against U.S. government from holding elected office if that person has taken an oath to support the Constitution of the U.S.
Donald Trump's lawyers are arguing that he was not convicted of insurrection and therefore that this constitutional amendment should not apply.
Castro telling KOAT alleged actions he believes led to the U.S. Capitol attack were hard to digest.
You can try to put, lipstick on a pig, but I mean, it is what it is. They were trying to stop the democratic process, the peaceful transfer of power. And when they weren't getting their way and they realized it wasn't going to happen, they bashed windows, they jumped through doors, they pepper sprayed.
Republican Party of New Mexico Chairman Steve Pearce denouncing Castro's actions.
This smacks of third world country politics. Our Constitution gives us the right to due process, the right to defend ourselves. Not only has Mr. Trump not been convicted, he hasn't even been charged with insurrection. That's because there was none.
Trump's attorney Mark Caruso declining to comment on his behalf while litigation is pending, but in a motion to dismiss Castro's suit reads in quote, "Plaintiff is a repeat litigant who has filed identical lawsuits in dozens of other jurisdictions across the country. None has been successful in a bare-bones complaint based on mere conclusory assertions that President Trump violated an oath to support the Constitution by engaging in insurrection." KOAT political expert Brian Sanderoff telling us this will head to the state Supreme Court.
Oftentimes, the Supreme Court gets involved when different states are coming up with different outcomes, and that's what's happening here.